Now, as a fan of Lupin III, I'm often asked where to begin with a series that's practically been on since the early 70s. While Lupin III doesn't need much context as it's mainly an episodic series, which tells the story of how the Lupin gang first formed, as well as the birth of one of the greatest rivalries in anime between Lupin III and Inspector Zenigata. And quite honestly, this special preps you up with everything you need to know about the characters. Lupin is what you can say is a smooth criminal, who can also be pretty goofy at times. Jigen is a badass gunman. Goemon is practically one of the most skilled samurai ever to exist. I mean, the dude cuts through fucking lightning in this special. Zenigata is a lovable goofball of an inspector. And Fujiko is just one sexy backstabber who no matter what, you'll always come back for more because she's just that good. However, not only does this special fill in what you need to know about the characters, but also what you can expect from the series overall. You have your cool and suave moments, great music, original art style, over-the-top heists, escapes, gadgets, car chases, and just plain crazy moments. Now, as most things Lupin related, this special is incredibly entertaining, and after watching this one, you could practically watch whatever you want to through the various Lupin animes, movies, and other specials. However, if I were to say one thing negative about this special, is that despite it having a decent runtime, being only an hour and 30 minutes, but it does feel at one point in the special it's about to wrap up, and then it just keeps on going. But really, this is just a very slight nitpick, as despite that, the remainder of the special is very entertaining.
Hey everyone, it's Merlin. Today we'll be talking about Lupin III, First Contact. Not to be confused with Star Trek's First Contact, of course. This movie basically serves as a possible origin series for Lupin and the gang. It all surrounds the Clam of Hermes, a metal cylinder which supposedly contains the formula to produce indestructible metal. Lupin steals it from a gangster, but is in turn stolen by Fujiko several times, but Jigen, who's working for the gangster, sees Lupin as a challenge and goes after him. Zenigata also arrives looking for Fujiko, but ends up being more interested in capturing Lupin instead. Oh, and Gaomon eventually arrives for his own reasons which become clear as the film proceeds. This movie is basically one big cat and mouse game of double crosses and twists. It's pretty entertaining and keeps you guessing. One of the best things about the film is actually the plot. It's a rather well-layered mystery thriller. The other great thing about the piece is the chemistry between the characters, which seems very believable, and the origin story of the group's formation actually makes sense. The real highlight is the line exchanges between Jigen and Lupin, which are hilarious. Zenigata steals all his scenes, and Fujiko and Gaomon both get really awesome moments as well. This could have simply been a pure fan service flick to showcase the characters, but it really holds up as a solid origin and a good standalone film. I do have a few minor issues with it though. I think Lupin is basically best when it's just over-the-top action hijinks. Lupin has always been basically a master thief answer to James Bond, who is a master spy. He has all the same abilities. He relies on ridiculous gadgets, charisma with the ladies, and he can perform daredevil stunts without dying. The movie tries to be a more serious noir mystery some of the time, and does pull off the drama well, but when it goes back into cartoony, over-the-top mode, it can be jarring and takes a little while to adjust. I found myself questioning how Gaomon would fit into the movie through most of it, and it's pretty clear that it runs out of plot around the hour mark, giving into the action. It also features a villain who would have been really great if we just had more time with him. I feel more of a balance was needed between the dramatic noir tone and the over-the-top action, or maybe it should have just stuck with one consistent tone throughout. The great thing about Lupin, though, is you can tell just about any story with him. I don't know if a fan should start with this one. I think it's better for those who know the characters already. Overall, though, it was a pretty solid film, and I enjoyed it. Stay magical and subscribe to the Phantom Group.
Lupin III First Contact Episode 0 is very close to being a perfect introduction for newcomers, but a few flaws exist. Like my previous friends have stated, it works well for presenting most of the cast, with the exception of Goemon. For whatever reason, this character often gets shafted, possibly due to his overpowered skills as a swordsman, or for being the most Japanese of all the characters. His personality and appearance often clashes with the rest of the group, despite also being Japanese, but their heavy Americanization makes viewers often forget of their ethnic roots. Another factor that prevents the story of being a smooth experience is the character Brad. This man only appears in this special, and he is what sets the story into motion. In the beginning, Brad is shown talking to Lupin, acting as a rival in thievery, but is killed the very next day. What's odd about this scenario is that a murder mystery presents itself, but is never really utilized into the story, at least not until the last second. The same thing can be said to the villains of this TV special, who aren't seen as important when they really should. In my experience when watching Lupin, the series always seems to struggle in balancing screen time for each individual character, with Brad and especially Goemon being the examples for this TV special. Regardless of its minor flaws, I still highly recommend First Contact Episode 0 as anyone's first impression of the Lupin III series.